guys on the
Empire Cannabis Manufacturers Alliance.
ECMA. Yeah.
Nice.
Association.
That's what's up.
Yeah,
Is it an alliance or association?
Alliance.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
we went back and forth. It ended at alliance.
What are we lobbying for right now?
We got the quarterly tax to move to annual.
To an annual.
Alliance means we're friends.
Alliance just means like we have an alliance.
Do you want to
legal
start?
documents.
Friends with benefits kind of thing.
Yeah. Do you want to start an alliance with me?
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
All right.
We have an alliance.
Be part of my alliance?
Do you want to be? All right. We're gonna. Hey, we have an alliance right here. Look at this. This is such an alliance of people here. Here we are. Stage 1 podcast. Stoop to store. Legacy to legal. We're gonna kick this one off with our very special guest we got here from Jaunty, Nature, Critical. You guys are just basically going by Jaunty. They got Critical on the hat, got the Jaunty on the hat, got the Jaunty.
Yeah, Critical's gonna keep going for sure, but
Yeah.
Jaunty
is there, right?
the driver.
And is Resonators?
Yeah,
That's all your
Resonators.
brands,
Resonators
right?
is still, yeah, we got Resonators, Jumbodos, and Jaunty.
Jumbodos.
Those are all
anybody.
in-house brands.
So we got Christian and Nick from all of those companies.
From Jaunty.
From Jaunty. They're representing Jaunty today.
Did you click it?
So today we're gonna actually, these guys are like real, every time I run into you, like in the world, not in the store, but like in the world somewhere, which has happened a couple times. What do you want? Oh, you gotta hide.
Nah, man, this is very bright.
It's true, it is. Every time I run into you out in the real world, you guys always are like, yo, you should try. We got these new dabs coming. They're fucking super bomb. We got some dabs. So, gotta wait for these new dabs. So then you guys are like the dab experts that I've been dealing with since from the beginning, from like day one.
Oh, it's an honor as a title. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Well, you guys. So we're gonna talk about dabs, right? Because we're got 710 is coming up.
And
We're gonna talk about dabs. And all about dabs. And we get a lot of
dab
questions about dabs too, right? So it's like, what are dabs?
But first we're gonna do like the introduction and everything. And
We can. I'm bad at that part, remember?
No, I know. That's why I'm fucking reminding you.
I'm not gonna
That's why we
introduce
have
that. We're gonna start over here, and everybody's gonna introduce themselves around the table for all the new viewers.
Scotty.
That's it?
Yeah.
Scotty facts? No facts? Scotty.
You gotta just hold up a shoe one.
Great Scott.
Great Scott.
Great.
Farmer Adam.
Farmer Adam.
Vernon.
Alright, we need something else though. You can't just be one thing.
Virgil. Grind.
Virgil.
Hustling. You already know. Regular shit.
Dan Ortega.
Dan Ortega. Many aliases.
Chantrell. That's it.
Ricky Bandana, Rocky Banjo, John Claude Bandana.
Jean-Claude Bandana.
Jean-Claude Van
See
Damme.
you later.
I'm Nick with Jaunty, co-founder of Jaunty.
Christian with Jaunty, the other co-founder of Jaunty.
Yeah.
Our co-founders of Jaunty.
Alleged now,
their AKAs.
and
I respect it.
I think
They're also maniacs who just built a ridiculously high-end facility with fucking a wish and a dream. And then still, right now, made it happen.
Yeah, it's true.
yeah, for sure. I
With
think-
like they bootstrapped it
No,
straight
but-
up. They with fucking their own money and their fucking friends and families pitching in. Like they're not, that's like some real deal shit.
No,
like
and-
when we first met them, you could tell. You could
No,
tell it was palpable.
No, that's
Yeah.
why we fucked with them.
So,
That's why we're like, I don't know.
the first time-
They fucked the whole bag up, but they're fucking cool as fuck. And I think that they're gonna
I
win
think they're gonna
anyway.
win. They're gonna win.
And
I
it doesn't make sense, but they're gonna win anyway.
I appreciate it, dude.
Yeah.
When you
Literally
guys
what
were
we
coming
got.
to the facility the first time, we worked our ass off to make a few more sales of some CBD oil to raise enough money to paint the facility.
Yeah.
just so that like it would look presentable. We just needed to. We were like, if we can have this place painted. Christian's like,
Right before you
dispensaries are
came,
coming.
too. Yeah.
Dispensaries are coming. You gotta get this place painted. Figure it out. Sell the fucking car. Whatever you gotta do.
I love that.
And yeah, man, from then to now, it's been a crazy story. Like sales in January were like $100,000 in January of 2023, and now like a year and a half later, we closed our best month with like 1.3 million in sales.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah,
I
so
can only do 10x.
that comes with all
Why
its
have you only done
challenges.
10x, man?
In 1 year, you 10x. That's amazing.
We're gonna see, dude. It's
I
but
wouldn't
like
be surprised if you guys did too, right?
We
was
did
booming
pretty,
off the
we did
rip.
pretty good. Nah, we were from month one. We were just doing delivery, so we did like the whole month was like a day.
We're not gonna say it though. We're not gonna say
I'm not gonna say the number. I'm just saying the month was a day. That's all.
Alright,
That's about as far as I'm gonna take it. Then everybody can fucking guess. And then
so that's 30x growth though. However you put it.
that's
right?
true. Yeah. But that was only because we were just doing delivery. And
We
then
were
opened
2
the
months
store.
in. We were 2 months in the black.
But also for us, it's like
2
it was
months in
only
the
because we
black.
were in only one store. You know, it's like
Yeah.
Yeah, for real. And you're, Kristen, tell the story about when you visited me in the studio, right?
Oh, the
And
first time I
the
met
first
you.
time you
Oh, yeah,
came to
we were
the store,
prospecting out there.
and you were like, it was like,
In the army?
I think, yeah,
Wait, hold on. I don't even think we all said our names up. Cause
Oh,
I'm
sorry.
Nate.
oh, your
Sorry,
name,
sorry.
Yo, you're so horrible.
I'm so bad at that.
No, we didn't get all the way through it all.
apologize.
Christian introduced
Christian
himself.
Right when I got
co-founder Jaunty.
Jason.
Name the owner.
This is how we're going.
Jason LRX.
I'm just trying to stay on point because I always keep my shit on point. That's why my phone keeps ringing.
But somehow you got your on point brings us off point.
All right, so I'm distracting. Sorry.
Only a little bit. Where were we? Tell me about when you met me in the studio for the first time. It was, I don't know, it was like maybe a week and a half after we had they announced the first licenses.
Yeah, it must have been just right after Thanksgiving in 22.
Yeah,
So you guys
yeah.
were part of the original 32 that got the
The
first
original
licenses.
36, I think of us.
36 it was, right.
yeah.
And there was a couple of guys in the Capital Region, so it was you guys, it was Matt Robinson, it was Don over at Upstate. I called all you guys up on the phone. You picked up, you were super friendly. You invited me over to the I guess it was the studio.
The studio over there, yeah.
And, well, actually, so I guess the funny part of it was, at that time, we only had 6 SKUs of Jaunty. That's what we launched with, was our just distillate vapes.
Yeah, you had your distillate vapes.
6 distillates.
And we-
Still core flavors, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so, I mean, the initial bunch, we had to send blanks because there just wasn't enough time
that's
to get them
right.
branded.
Yeah.
So we had some prototypes. I had like 7 prototypes, literally
That
7.
the hardware company made to like prove the customization.
What it was going to be eventually.
Right,
so I wanted
right.
to put my best foot forward. I didn't want to just give you a blank cartridge with some oil in it, so I brought like a couple of the 7. And
Yeah.
I made those
just
myself.
Yeah.
give you one, and then I realized like it's going to be pretty shicey if I just leave one behind, so I had to like give you half of them.
No, you had 4. No, but how I remember is you have 4 of them, right? And I was like so green. I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know if you guys, like, I just thought, yeah, these guys got mad carts. And he brought 4 of them, and he had 4 of them. And I was like, let me get both those sativa carts. And you were like, okay. You gave me 2 of the 4 fucking, and I had no fucking clue. You just told me that the other day. And I thought that was hilarious. Yeah, I thought I was over your Devo, and people were like, yo, let me get.
Totally out we're here like 18 months later. and
Yeah,
we're
but
doing
that was
this,
fucking,
so.
that's
Yeah, that was a
hilarious.
good spent 2 cards.
Yeah.
for sure.
It was, because we sold a fucking shit ton of those cards,
Yeah.
bro.
Yeah, you guys have for sure.
Yeah.
And,
Would you have been less hesitant to fuck with him if he said no on the cards?
Of course.
Maybe, probably.
Yeah.
No, if I didn't get a chance to like taste multiple flavors, you know, because that's what it was for me. I just
That's a good
wanted to like
question, though.
see. Yeah, it was a great question. I wanted to see what it was, and back then I didn't know shit about anything. He brought the other thing that you did too was you brought like a thing of oil, like crude, made with
Ethanol.
with ethanol, and then
Versus-
crude made.
Oh, yeah, we had that whole activation with that.
Yeah, and then so break that down a little bit.
So we do CO2 extracted oil. The two primary methods, you're either going to do like ethanol extract or you're going to do CO2 extractor. So we've been CO2 extractor since the beginning. Ethanol, maybe this isn't necessarily the case anymore because I think ethanol processors have kind of like upped their game a little bit, but
Yeah, like in let's say like just a couple of years ago and before that, ethanol extracts, the post-processing of them was hard to nail down. So there was always like this leftover sort of like rancid aftertaste, and CO2 doesn't extract it because it's not as efficient of an extract. It doesn't extract all of those like chlorophyll and carbon molecules that just have a really bad taste in general, and then filtering them out is just so much easier with CO2. Like you just have an easier beginning extract to work with to then post-process. And sorry. Okay.
yeah, it's just cleaner from the beginning. Like traditional ethanol, when it comes out of the tap, it looks
It's
like
vibrant.
motor oil, and it takes a lot
Yeah.
to clean that up. But
Yeah.
I will say like
And I remember that's what I remember. Remember you bringing it, and it had like a lot more kind of like plant matter left in it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
then what
exactly.
you had, what the CO2 extraction was way smoother. It looked more like motor oil or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
As opposed to it had like this amber color. It was
Yeah,
like
yeah.
you know, and it didn't, and it had the viscosity wasn't. I didn't get to check. We didn't see that. It was just like, but it was like definitely like better.
It didn't move, yeah. It basically didn't move,
Right,
yeah.
it didn't move.
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah, and that's really a purity thing. But yeah, in general, CO2 is just a way gentler solvent, I guess is the easiest way to explain it. So like CO2, if you were to take liquid CO2 or like blow CO2 in any area or surface, you're not gonna see like paint disappear from it, right? But if you take ethanol or alcohol and just wipe it on painted nails or like on a wall, it like removes everything because it's a super
Yeah,
strong solvent.
It strips
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah, it
right?
strips
and so
everything
ethanol
off.
technically, like ethanol,
It's
like,
a
strips
harsh
everything,
extraction.
but the THCA out of the plant, the way it's been explained to me.
And then you have to like post-process, filter all that stuff out after.
Yeah.
And most people don't have good enough systems. So just traditionally, if like you see on the back of a cartridge, like it's only ethanol extracted, and that's the only solvent that's touching it. It has the potential to have like a sort of rancid aftertaste and be a lower
And that's
quality,
why they have to
a
put
lower
a lot.
quality distillate.
That's why they have to put a lot more terps in that shit, right? To
Yeah.
like get it.
Yeah.
To get
Instead
it
of
to
like
not taste like
5
shit.
or 6%, you might use like 8 or 9% terps. Yeah.
Right. And is
Yeah.
that what gives that bitterness to like some edibles that might use ethanol?
Yeah, exactly that.
sure.
Yeah,
it could
exactly
leave a
that.
bit of like a film in the mouth too.
Yeah,
if
yeah.
you're using ethanol.
Can like poorly extracted oil like have any other negative effects, like headaches?
It's really
and
a
shit like
quality
that, or-
issue. No, it's a quality issue because like all the residual solvents, it's not. I don't like being like a fear monger, even though we
Yeah,
sell
yeah,
CO2.
That's why I wanna ask. That's why I'm
We sell
asking.
CO2 oils, but we have a bunch of friends that also use ethanol, and it's like it doesn't. All of the residual solvents, everything gets tested for in the COA, and it's like it's completely clean of that. So it's
Yeah,
just
yeah.
a quality question. Like,
Well, how about
that's
on the black
really it.
market though, Mike?
Oh, in the black market, it's a different story for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah, yeah.
And in the black market, I think the biggest concern is pesticides, like high concentrations of them, especially in the extract-based market, which is what we do. Like when you're in flour, right, or let's say any fruit in the grocery store, tomato, whatever, there's a certain concentration of pesticides that could be left on there that you need to wash off. With cannabis, you can't wash off, so you might end up smoking some of it and combusting some of it. But when you take that flour and then you put it through a CO2 process and you extract it and it gets concentrated 10 times, let's say the flour percentage goes from like 10% THC in the biomass of extraction to 90%. But also anything else that was in the flour, which
doesn't get
pesticides,
burned off, right?
that doesn't get burned off or filtered out,
Right.
Because you just can't filter out the size of molecule that the pesticides are. They're gonna get through and they're gonna concentrate 10 times as well, and then you're gonna vape that you're vaping pesticide concentrate at that
Right.
point,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
And so all of these like D8 vapes, hemp D9 vapes, and just like black market vapes that get shoved out through Metric and other states. A lot of them, right?
Yeah.
Are just statistically more liable to have that shit in them. Like,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
shop at dispensaries.
Shop at ours. Yeah. Yeah.
Where it's safe, where you get it's tested. All right, so let's relate that back to dabbing.
Yeah.
So like, how do you get from like what's the difference between what you guys are making your distillate out of versus what you're making your dabs out of? Like, what's the process? The difference in
Well,
process?
so, like, to be fair, actually, we were talking about this earlier before when you said, like, you wouldn't dab distillate. You technically can dab distillate.
Yeah, you
Back
technically can. You would.
when I was like,
You
no,
would.
but
Yuck.
it's sold as a product, though.
It's true. It is sold as a product on the market. I have seen dabbable distillate sold.
Yeah, the dabblicator.
Yeah.
We actually
use distillate.
We do. Yeah. it's
Yeah,
true, it's
yeah.
true.
So
It could be used
like,
for a lot
I
of
remember
things.
when I first
Dabblicator.
went to like I don't know. I think it was like 2015
Lot of uses.
or 2015. First
Put
went
in
to
joints.
Colorado to buy legal. I didn't know a
It's
ton
gonna
about
jump.
extracts yet. And I saw distillate and I was like, that looks cool as fuck. And I think that's like what a lot of people will think if they have absolutely no idea. Well, at least that's
Right.
what I think. I don't know how stupid
No,
I
that's,
was
how,
then,
that's what I thought too. I
but I was
thought
like-
distillate must be fucking clean and fucking it's
Pure,
like
it's
pure.
potent.
It's
This is what I
potent,
want,
shit,
right?
it's got nice 90%.
Yeah.
Tastes good. Like,
Yeah, and it has all those features in a vape for sure. But like as a dab, it's nowadays anybody that's like educated on it, it's a weird product to use as a dab. I think, and I was
Yeah.
sorely disappointed by it when I bought it as a dab for the first time then in Colorado.
Yeah.
And I was like, wait, how do I use this? And then I just sort of like squirted it on the.
You dabbed it like out of glass?
That's what it was. It was
I look at like
it
the
was this little
dabblicator.
syringe.
I
No,
look
back
more like
then-
to infuse things with the dabblicator.
Back then
Like, that's what I
it was
would
like a
use.
little syringe.
I mean, they're
and
calling
it
it
was
a
sold
applicator.
as a
You know what I'm
dab.
saying? To applicate the dab. Like,
God.
Is that one?
And to be clear,
yeah, I guess
people
that's
put
like
it into
the,
jars.
the phonics of it, and
Yeah.
what. But it's, I don't know the way they sell it to us though. Is like you could fucking infuse joints with
Yeah,
this.
yeah,
They haven't.
well, you
said-
can cook with
they
it,
haven't
too.
sold it. They don't cook
Yeah,
with
yeah,
it.
you
They
can
haven't been like, yo, you know what you come in and do with this dabblicator is fucking dab.
Yeah, no,
you just eat the
Like
fucking-
none of the sales guys have said that shit.
I
You
think
could.
I think that's
It's
fair.
already
I think that's fair.
Yeah,
Times have
distillate's
just
already
changed.
decarbed.
2015 was 9 years ago already.
Right,
so back
right.
then, but anyway, I dabbed it and it was like exhaust. It was terrible. And I was like, well,
Yeah.
this is just a bad
Was it
concentrate.
vape juice though? Did it have terps mixed in it, or was it?
It
Just
did have
straight-
terps. No, it did have terps mixed in it.
Would you remember? What it was?
Adam, you wanna? You
Some
got,
kind
you
of-
wanna go Adam's
I got something to say.
Adam got something to say.
Let's hear it.
Well, like, so on contrary of like, yes, the like the ethanol extraction does get clean and it ends up being pure, but like, think about when you wash your, like if you're washing clothes or something, like, or that's a bad example. It's more about you might be stripping it out, but you're leaving things burned. You know what I mean? Like those molecules. Like I feel that there's this like it just burnt. And it's not full spectrum either, so
It's
you're
definitely
adding
not full
things
spectrum
in.
because you
So-
lose a lot of.
So like I think it's
any of
genetically
the
damaged, like on a really, like on a really like down to it level, like it's genetically damaged THC. I think so. That's why it's burning like harsh. I think that's like adding to the harshness.
like
Yeah.
the pepper feeling in the
Yeah,
nose
that
and
it's
stuff.
like-
So the
Or maybe
CO2
the-
extraction though is
Yeah.
what is like
Or
what's
maybe-
left.
Or maybe yeah.
What's left that isn't left in the.
Just
Well, the
ideas.
the
the
biomass is completely like when you open a CO2 chamber, like the biomass looks like it just had stuff removed from it, but it looks the same. It just looks like a much lighter color. So what's left is all the plant material, all the cell wall, all the like fiber, basically.
Yeah.
But the actual distillate itself, I mean, whether or not you're starting from dried biomass that's destined for distillate extraction, and you're either doing like ethanol or CO2. If you do it properly, the end result really should be the same thing, but you're just kind of getting there from a different perspective. I mean, by definition, distillate is distilling it to continue concentrating something just further and further.
Yeah.
So you're removing more stuff out, and then you just have THC behind, which is I don't think most of like the consumer market really understands what distillate is and how much distillate is on the shelf.
And what's different about distillate compared to a full spectrum product or flower or?
Well, the main difference is like with a full spectrum product is an RSO, right? Like a Rick Simpson oil could be considered a full spectrum product, and it's something that like I think has been used medicinally quite successfully in a bunch of treatments. So, and that's basically like room temperature ethanol. It's not even cooled down ethanol, and then just like flour thrown in there, and the extract of that after the ethanol is boiled off of it. So I think that's a fairly full spectrum product. It carries like whatever the hell, everything that was in that plant is going to be in there. When you distill, because you're trying to create a gummy product that's flavored like mango or sour watermelon, or you're trying to create a vape that you might flavor like green apple or strawberry, like, which is what really distillate should be for. You want to like remove as much as possible of any of the terpene or anything that's not cannabinoids. Like when you're making a distillate, the ultimate goal, what makes like a very good distillate, regardless of the source, whether it be hydrocarbon, butane, CO2, or ethanol, which all three can really make distillate, you're trying to just make the number be as close to 100% cannabinoids as possible, which means you need to remove terpenes regardless of the starting point. You need to remove everything, and you want to get to like 98% total cannabinoids and have a full spectrum of cannabinoids, not including terpenes, but a full spectrum of cannabinoids, which is like, 90% THC, 5 CBG, 2 CBN, CBC, blah, 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 down the line. And that would be a very good distillate because it means you've purified it. You've ultimately purified it. With the full spectrum live product, or even a cured resin product, like something that comes from properly cured flower where the primary terpenes have been preserved and then it's extracted with butane, you're trying to keep everything that the plant has. So the goal is for the extraction to work so that the output is basically usable right away with almost no post-processing. The only post-processing that an output from one of these full spectrum products should have is like mechanical, which is like whipping or some other kind of function to give it like a texture, or decarbing to be able to get it into a vape because the heat of the vape won't decarb it. But that's it. You don't want to have to do like anything else, which means you've conserved as much as possible of the plant. So that would be like a live fresh frozen material going into butane, or like any hash that you're making. So I think that's kind of the big difference. Like,
so the big
they both have their place though.
Right. So the big difference between like creating a distillate and creating something that's more of a dabbable product like this array that we have up here is the quality of the flower to start, right? So you're not dealing with what you guys were calling biomass when you're creating a dabbable. Right. You said fresh frozen, or cured, or cured flour. So it's really just like flour, smokable shit. You're making if you're gonna make some really good dabs, you got to start with smokable flour.
And which is what makes them expensive too.
Right. Exactly. So, and when you're making distillate, 9 times out of 10 or like 10 times out of 10, you're just using biomass.
Or often you use trim, which is the output after trimming like high quality cured flour.
Everything we got your fucking.
That's hilarious.
Shout out to Rolling Green. I'm smoking on the mellows.
Shout out Rolling Green.
Yeah, smoking on the mellows. I just want to put that out there for Kate, who does our. Kate Mellum, who does our podcast post. Swarley.
Shout out to Swarley.
Swarley for doing
Barkley.
You come in and see it. She does the podcast picks. So every time we're smoking something on the pod, she figures out what it is, and then she makes sure that the people know what it is, so they can smoke how we smoke.
It's really dope.
It's really dope.
It puts a lot of
Shout out Swarley. We love
She puts a lot of effort into it. So I just wanted to shout her out and then say, don't forget you gotta put the mellows out there for us, because that's what we smoking on today. Right now.
Nobody else She's the best.
She just said it. She just asked. She actually asked me, "Can she do that?" Like
she's awesome.
Yeah, she watches the pod. She knows what it is, and she's fucking.
Shout out to Swarley.
Yeah, for real.
We love you, Swirls.
And that's the team right there. You know what I mean? I'm saying what they should do now. They're gonna have like a demographic map of actual open dispensaries and have like kind of numbers now. The OCM will have numbers of customers, daily interactions, how much money all these stores are making in these neighborhoods, and then they can pop up on the illegal stores and be like, this is how much tax you owe us.
Yeah. And then if not, we're gonna.
I know that's totally fucking illegal and unconstitutional. They totally could not do that shit, but that would be a fucking.
Well, they can't. But the other thing is, it's like in the illegal stores, they can sell whatever. Like
Right.
we can't sell that, and the shit that they sell in there didn't go through testing.
Oh,
It's
hell no.
Not. And most of it is shit from other states that doesn't
failed.
pass.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's why it
and
came
like,
over.
on top of that, like a lot of the, like I was saying before, they're not traditional legacy people. Like all of these like convenience store associations, which are traditionally groups that like run trucking, run warehouses in New York. They have like I've just talked to people, friends that have worked at these warehouses, and like they have everything from like fake Tylenol, fake Advil to fake Colgate. Like they like white label it all in China. They like put fake stamps on it, and they just
Nasty
make better
word.
margins on it. So at any of those convenience stores, that shit that you're buying is fake. This warehouse that they just cracked in New York with like whatever 10, 15 million bucks worth of like all this hemp derived THCP, D9, THCO shit that's got like little gummy bears and like children looking shit all over all of it, because that's like what sells the most to tourists and shit. Like they're just pushing that, and it's not even almost about like illegal stuff coming from California with a bit of pesticides. It's like we've been to the labs in Colorado that make THCP and make THCO, and it's literally like CBD isolate that was made with acids combined with other acids, heated for like 24 hours within the acid until the conversion happens, and then separated. But the acids that they use are not on any COAs or any tests that you could ever even check. They don't fucking use COAs anyway.
Yeah.
But even if you could try to test for these, there are things that you wouldn't catch in there. So there's just like, it's like the same shit as the spice and like K2 or like whatever.
Potential.
Yeah, well, like, some of it. I'm not saying all of it. It's
But
like
it's not necessarily.
But you're just
It all
like
depends on who
exposing
made it. You
yourself
don't
to
know
that.
who made it. That's the point.
That's the shit that's like in the gas station up on Route 9 over by my crib, and they have fucking. They have
like that cake brand.
They have this shit. And
Is that going to be our sponsored business?
And then they have like
the gas station.
the gas
that has
station.
the blows in there.
And they got the shit that's like legal shrooms. So it's like THC derived legal shrooms.
Shrooms are being sold on Instagram, just buy your psilocybin chocolates.
Oh yeah,
they're like, catch me if you can. What are you gonna do? Like,
I'm selling these on Instagram.
Yeah, I feel like everyone just stopped giving a fuck about mushrooms overnight. Like, yo, we just sell these in the open.
You don't buy them.
Yeah, when somebody gives you a chocolate, you take a bite.
You don't buy shrooms.
Yeah.
Somebody buys shrooms.
Yeah, a lot
You
of people
don't
buy
buy
shrooms
shrooms.
now, man. It's kind of shrooms. I don't.
You don't.
No, I don't buy shrooms.
He grows
Jay's
shrooms.
looking around like,
Microdose? Microdose. I highly recommend it.
Yeah, shrooms are the best. I'm not saying I haven't eaten shrooms. I'm
can
just
eat some
saying I don't
shrooms right
buy
now.
them. People
What's up?
just
Let's
fucking. Typically, what ends up happening to me is people will hand me shrooms, like, and that's how I end up with shrooms. Is I don't buy them because people just give them to me. Like I don't fucking. I don't know, and then I'll be like,
It was meant to happen,
fuck it.
Yeah, it's not like guilty, right?
Definitely hated it.
That's what I'm saying.
I got strangers. I got
But
strangers with me right
psilocybin is
now.
used as medicine now.
Yeah,
That's the thing that people don't understand. Like,
Yeah,
it's
Chris was saying he microdoses it.
Microdosing
Yeah.
is amazing.
Takes like a point one.
my aunt,
Yeah, like point
don't drink, smoke, do nothing, microdoses.
Shrooms are amazing.
Yeah, and typically I'll like,
people do.
I'll eat. I won't eat like even a half an eighth. I'll eat like a fucking half a gram.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, that's plenty
and
to
just
have a
be
little
fucking
fun
and
time.
just chill. Like it's not. I'm not trying to trip my balls off.
We're all eating more and have an experience.
Yeah. Or if I want to have an experience, I might eat. That's true.
That's how life is going too,
If
right?
everybody came over to my house, we'd go eat some mushrooms and go down to the beach.
Nate let it be known. He goes, I eat more than half.
I don't have to.
I'm not gonna buy them.
For the record, but I don't.
They're just gonna be there. No, they show up. They just show up.
Could somebody explain microdosing? Chris, if you could. Could we answer that?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I got into it because I heard about it. I think I was watching Joe Rogan, Paul Stamets was on there talking about the Stamets stack.
Paul Stamets, yeah.
Basically taking niacin, lion's mane, and then a microdose of psilocybin every day. And then there's like different regimens that you do, so like 5 days on, 2 days off or something. But basically to the psilocybin point, you're supposed to take roughly, I guess, what would be 1/10 of a gram of ground up shrooms, but it's not, I mean, it's not super scientific because we don't know what's the potency of the original mushroom, psilocybin, so you don't really know, but
after you eat them, you know.
You'll know, yeah.
No, sometimes you'll get a really good batch, and then sometimes you'll get a dud of a batch.
Yeah.
That's happened.
You really know when you eat like larger doses.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the same amount.
At least a gram, I feel, to know.
But it does a similar thing. And dosage wise, like it does a similar thing.
Totally.
Like
In different
once
amounts.
you reach the dose, then it's sort of similar, just like more period of time in some ways, and then or slightly more acute experiences in there, like in the way like shit gets too swimmy.
Some people microdose to use it as like a replacement of antidepressants. They help. It helps them, feel like clarity, but also like that okay feeling.
But there's also been like studies that does like it helps neurologically, and it helps to create new neural pathways that like have been known to help people with Parkinson's disease and things like that. Really,
That's why my aunt's doing it.
Yeah, and it like helps to and creates these.
We're making no medical claims.
On that
We're not.
note,
That's just what they're.
But it does promote neuroplasticity, yes it does.
It promotes neuroplasticity.
When you came up with Jaunty, you were microdosing then, right? I'm pretty sure you were. And
I might have been.
Yeah, I think
it's not part of the origin story, though.
Yo, the Jaunty's doing shrooms and down to the brain.
I know, just because you said making new connections, and I feel like you were particularly creative. But I mean, in general, I've never done 0.1s every day, but the feeling is like a little bit of like just an uplifted feeling, right?
Well, I mean, here's the trick to it. You gotta kind of experiment with it, because I mean, unfortunately, you can't just go to the store and just buy, the pill. So you have to pack your own, and you have to experiment with a little bit. So I mean, I started out with like as high as 0.2, 0.25, and you would feel that, and that's way too much. The idea is that you should take it, and really you should not feel anything.
Okay.
It just kind of works in the background.
Right.
It just makes the day a little bit.
Yeah, like brighter.
It's funny how both the guys said brighter at the same exact time. Which is
Because that's what microdosing is. You're not supposed to like trip. You just feel like a little pep in your step.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a Jaunty one, by the way.
Oh,
experimented
I did not
with
know
microdosing
that.
before, and for me, I've done like more. So me, it was more like 0.5s that I would probably.
You take a half gram.
I would take it like probably there maybe like I wouldn't weigh them out. I would just do them by eye.
Yeah.
So it would be just like a stem or like a little piece from here and there, and it wouldn't be enough to make me definitely not trip or like to like see the trails full or anything like that. It actually was like when I first started experimenting with these gummies and doing like these higher doses of the gummies, I noticed a parallel between the two. I feel like once you get like really THC high, it starts to feel like a microdose psilocybin high.
Oh no. Yeah.
So
because it could go straight. It could go from that like
Edibles get
edibles
trippy.
can go from that fucking trippy shit to that like
if you're in that
it's not as natural feeling as
no. You have to.
Rush is way more natural.
Yeah, there's like a tipping point with that. I mean, there's a tipping
mushrooms
point.
feel like
with
People get scared on mushrooms.
Yeah, that's true.
Like it's a
That's true.
flow,
Yeah.
like a
I feel like
gradual
it's
flow,
gonna-
whereas like
whatever
the
you're
gummies are
feeling,
like,
it'll kind of bring it more to the surface, but like you can feel the feelings, but like from a distance. Like it's not like I'll know, okay, I'm feeling this thing, but I won't have to react to it as much. Like I can kind of, it's like as if I'm meditating, but just in my state of existing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I would agree with that. It does. It gives you just like sort of a peaceful.
Let go.
You accept.
And you can just
a lot of acceptance.
I agree.
For sure.
All right, let's bring it back to some dabs.
Concentrates?
Now we've been taking dabs, right?
Yeah, that's why we took
what
dabs and everybody started tripping.
What have we been dabbing? Let's talk about what we've been dabbing.
We've been dabbing that Champaya by Critical.
We've been doing.
Yeah.
It's tasting good. Is that a mimosa cross?
And just to roll back into the dabs, I'm clearing up a little bit, and what I said earlier about the reason why distillate tastes that harsh, I think it could have that damage, but what really it is that THC alone is harsh.
Yeah.
That's just really it. It's
and
as
the
simple as,
more pure, like if you have super pure distillate, it will be quite harsh actually.
yeah, because when I was out in other states and I was getting, I bought like a 90% THC diamonds, right? THCA diamonds, and I smoked them. And they were pretty flavorless, but they're harsh.
Just think about the percentage. Like if it's 90-something% THC, like there's nothing else in there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't have enough room to make it right.
Yeah. There's. I mean, I will say, it also really depends on the hardware. Like when you guys see this quantum hardware come out right now, well, not right now, but in about 6 months. With our distillate carts, that in my opinion, that solves the harshness issue with distillate. But
quantum.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Why is it called quantum? Out of curiosity.
It's just a different technology. It's what the vape company called the hardware. It's just their name for it, but it's a new technology. So they're calling it like that. It's a quantum leap because you went from like cotton wicks, right, for vapes, like in 2012 to 15, 16, where it was just like really hard. They would you would never finish the whole thing. It was completely impossible.
Gross.
And then that went to ceramic.
Yeah.
Ceramic core is already like, it was a great improvement, and now this technology is sort of like the next step in our opinion.
What differentiates it?
It's a different heating element. So the ceramic one is like this, for a cart, it's this little cylinder made out of ceramic that's porous. So imagine like it's got like the same structure as like a cork or something, where it's got just holes going all through it, and that's where the oil soaks in. And so the oil will like soak in, and then when you stop hitting it, it'll kind of soak back out, and it keeps doing this in and out motion, and it gets heated up, it cools down, heated up, cools down. And eventually by the end, like the oil is quite dark at the bottom of most carts, and then the taste is just it's not comparable from the beginning to the end, right? With this new technology, instead of like a ceramic core that's just porous, it's a crystal chip, and it's got like laser etched micro holes, like 4,000 within this thing that's like a rice grain size. It's got all these little micro etch holes, and the oil goes through like capillary action. So like it'll sit there if you're not pulling, and then as soon as you pull, the other side of the crystal has the heating element, and it instantly vaporizes it. So like there's no more clogging.
Inside all the holes get that vaporizes. So
pass that lemon.
Yeah, exactly. Like instantly vaporizes it, and then you get just like a way more full flavor profile as well.
You can definitely. If I handed two of them side by side and you tried it, I think that you would definitely notice the difference. One of the unique things about it too is because, like to your point, when you're talking about the traditional ceramic core right now, it's like a sponge. So there's holes that are like this big, small, big, big, big. So when you're vaping the oil through that, you're getting a very inconsistent pore size of the vapor. Versus now, if everything is just resting on the top of this chip and everything is pulling through a uniform size, the density of the vapor is significantly denser, and it has just like a different mouthfeel. Like it weighs heavier in your mouth, and when you exhale it, it's a bigger.
It feels more like real
cloud.
smoke.
It's right.
And because that's going through these things, it also forces the vapor molecules to be much smaller. Yeah. So it's basically like nanotech for carts. Like it just goes through your lungs like a lot faster. So there's like faster onset, no leaking, better flavor. Harder. It's all this fucking.
Yeah. They've done some tests on this apparently too.
We're actually, you guys had that shit in White Plains.
We're gonna, we showed it to you. We're gonna release.
That's right.
I was like, yo, can I take that shit with me? And you're like, nah. Try to take the prototype.
We were like under
strict ask.
But no, we're gonna release in August. Actually, we'll have like the ratio. We'll have like minors. So it'll be CBD 1:1, CBG 3:1, and CBN 3:1 with that one. Because basically that's gonna be our run to make sure that there's not like any significant failure rates. Which so far like their failure rate has been like 0.4%, and they've showed us all the data, but we still don't want to just switch our main line to it until. So we're gonna release this line that we were planning on releasing anyway, and then in January release the full Jaunty line if everything works with that hardware.
We have some more sample cards back there, right?
We should get some. They do.
No, that's smart because otherwise, like.
You never know what the fuck.
You never know what the fuck happens till you try it.
Yeah.
Like anybody who thinks that they can really predict things just hasn't ever tried doing it.
And failed really
bad. Because if you try doing anything, it's fucking mad hard. So you'd better have tools like that to like make sure you don't fucking.
And if your product is doing
all the
great
way up.
and everybody loves it, it's like, well, all right, before we make this change that we think is brilliant. Yeah. No, totally.
And then screw it all up.
Yeah, it's so easy.
Because the damn cart leaks.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Big problem.
Everybody gets cross-eyed when they smoke. I like a jerk reference.
I like the jerk reference. That was a good one.
We got that.
This is Champagne.
So we're dabbing right now, and what do we using to dab at
This
right
is
now?
This is
You can put some more in if you want.
Focus 5.
I just put it down.
Focus V Carta 2.
Focus V Carta 2, and
Temped out at 455.
we got the lemon haze in there. Is that what's in there right now, or is
C?
Yeah, that's lemon haze. That's kind of the end of the dab, but
all right.
Yeah, I just put the.
yeah,
I just put it down there.
No, champagne is definitely nice.
There's something else.
Well, let's talk about all the other
we got a bunch of other
all
form
the
factors in
other
there.
brands that we carry in house of dabbables. Talk about them since we're talking about dabs, and we are featuring critical, obviously, because Jaunty is in the house, and these are the boys. That's what we're smoking on. They're fucking, but we're gonna showcase dabbables because it's dabs, right?
Yeah.
So we'll start with the solventless dad hash, which isn't technically a dabbable, but it's like the father of dabbables.
It is dabbable.
It's dabbable.
It is
You could,
dab.
depending on what you're doing.
No, but this stuff like is pretty clean. I would call it like 4-star, maybe 5-star hash. So it'll leave residue, but it will melt in a banger.
All right, look at that.
It will.
Yeah.
So the solventless dad hash, slurricane from Urban Extracts. But we're gonna hash out because I feel like the hash is like
It's like a symbol.
the beginning
I wouldn't
of
dab it.
dab, like where you start,
For sure.
Let's expound on that a little bit.
So sorry.
Oh, I like infusing shit with hash. It's fucking great. You smoke hash, and Adam's dabbing it.
Yeah, I mean, I dab it. I wouldn't. I mean, yeah, like the dad hash is maybe a stretch, but it melts, and that's kind of the whole idea, like resin collection is the start of concentrate, like ancient. This is Silk Road times we're talking,
Yeah.
where people were like traveling with plants, and they were like, how do we make this easier? It's the resin. That's what we want from it. And they started collecting the resin. This is a long story short. Super simple, sweet. And then they started transferring it. Sieving it, in because they collected seeds, so they used like the same kind of basket tech, and sieved it. And then they started traveling with hash. And hash is just like the trichome and resin glands collected. And so then we've taken
And balled
that tech,
up, right?
Not necessarily balled up, but it can be balled up. And technically hash is pressed. And then now it's evolved. So then that's European, it's other world culture. Then you move it to America, and we've taken that hash, and we've started to press it under heat and pressure, and make rosin with it. So we've gone from this like ancient technique that is great for topping bowls, great for like putting the worm in the grass, you know, boosting your joints and whatnot. But then
Pause.
you can just
So you're saying, so you press the hash, you press the hash, and you get rosin.
So you press the hash and you get rosin. You get good enough hash and you can, you know, get good enough.
Can get good enough rosin, and the good enough hash comes from the good flour.
Good enough hash comes from, well, good enough flour, but to be able to make it pressable, it has to be clean enough. So you need to have it sieved, and you know, to a right, where you're just getting the trichome, so you don't want plant matter in your finished product, and they can, you know, the boys here can tell you about that too.
Yeah.
So these are live.
But
We're talking live
that's all
rosin,
right on.
cold cure live rosin products. Is that a similar process to what?
Yeah, it's basically that. I mean, to Adam's point, like there's historically a ton of different ways to extract hash, right? Like to the point where people even at home with like with their hands could
rolling pins, washing
the
machines,
oil right off, right? And then like
been trimming or something.
Yeah, you end up just with the oil stuck there, right? But yeah, it's just gotten so much more and more advanced, especially in the last like 10 years. And we were looking at a bit of the history of it just in general, because like, wow, we didn't really realize like how new the world is that we're in. Like it was like in 1999 that the first sort of closed loop extractions of any type started to exist. I was reading on it, and apparently like the first sort of white paper that was released on butane extraction was on Arrowwood.
No, but that's crazy because they were already doing those extractions in like the 60s.
No, they were doing butane extractions, but they weren't like blasting them in the way that they started doing like closed loop blasting. Like already in Kabul in Afghanistan, I was reading about this stuff too. Like for all the even late 1800s, there was already like early periods where they're using butane to extract out of there. But
I meant like my uncle.
Oh yeah.
That's what I meant.
Fair enough. So
butane extraction. That's not my uncle. His uncle.
Yeah, not mine.
Yeah. But then so to the cold cure extraction, like live rosin, what you're doing, the big difference is that we have large scale freezers now that we dedicate to cannabis production versus back then. So back then most everything was based on cured flower, and that's why most older hash is like black, brown, super dark. Live hash is coming from material that in the fields we harvest and freeze within like 15-20 minutes of it coming off the plant. It goes right into like a -40 freezer, and the idea there is just to try to preserve as much as possible of the plant, like we were talking about with these extracts. You want to get as much of the terpenes and everything that's present in the plant when it's live into the product.
What does the freezing do to any of the like, let's say there was anything alive on the plant, like mold, other kinds of bacteria? What does that flash freezing process do to those things?
It'll preserve it just like it would preserve any of the other product, but with the exception of gosh, now I can't remember the name of the mold.
Aspergillus.
Aspergillus. Yeah.
No, but
with the exception of aspergillus, with frozen material, first of all, you do have to be super careful, right? When you're harvesting, you're basically harvesting in the same manner that you would smokable, and everything else gets tossed aside. But inevitably, in large-scale harvest, there's going to be some mold that gets through. It doesn't pass through the smallest sieve.
And I think that flash freezing has kills some things. Actually.
Well, it's gonna kill anything that was alive on it. Yeah. I just mean the matter.
Some of the things actually die in that process.
Oh, for sure. No, it'll all get killed. Right? No, you're right. Like anything live will get killed, but any of the matter then gets filtered through the process, basically. Any of like the leftover dead matter from that material, let's say.
And then eventually, when it's pressed, it's going through the 1 micron bag now.
Yeah, once it goes through a 1 micron bag and the rosin press, there's just nothing that would get through.
No,
yeah. With the exception of aspergillus, which like we test for and make sure none of the input biomass has.
Preventative measures definitely to make sure as little as possible or zero.
Flash flash frozen shit. That's like you're plucking it out of the ground and then putting it in the freezer and then it's stored there until it gets turned into.
Yeah, it gets bucked. It'll get put in a box so that it doesn't get compressed. Because that's the other thing with solventless. Like you really are separating the trichomes off the plant mechanically. So they're like little. You can think of them as like little water balloons. And if you store, which we learned this lesson, like if you store material just in bags compressed on top of each other, the material at the bottom will have all the trichomes bursted, and they'll basically just burst onto the plant, which is totally fine if you have hydrocarbon extraction, because that's a solvent that's just going to dissolve that oil right off the plant material. Yeah. But with solventless, which is just water mechanical extraction, you just won't be able to remove that off the plant, right?
Absorbed into the other plant matter.
Yeah, it'll just be in the plant matter. So then that gets stored in a box and put into that -40 freezer. And then within roughly 30 days, we're starting extraction on that stuff. Like we test everything out, see what's going to solventless this year, then what's going to go to, out of the 24 strains we have, what's going to go to butane. Once the specific strains that actually wash and have the proper structure, trichome structure to extract are selected, then they go to extraction, which is basically biomass into an extraction chamber, which is water and ice, super cold. That'll
like
just get
washing machine. Basically.
Yeah, that'll just get agitated. Yeah. And the trichomes will separate off because they become brittle and cold from the water.
They're frozen already.
Yeah.
And then that makes sense.
You're just collecting like all the live
and then how do you sort for those?
Yeah, then after that it'll go through. Originally we did it manually by hand, so a lot of hard work. Now we've got this great machine that's like, it's got different levels of micron size screen, and so it'll go from like 40 microns all the way to 160 microns in size, and it'll sift through like all the plant matter, and then it'll basically sort and organize vibrating, like it's a vibrating table. It'll sort and organize all the hash, and the creme de la creme of the hash, like what you're really looking for because of flavor profile and because of color, are like the middle two screens, which are like 73 and 123. And that hash particularly there in the center, which is like 50 to 60% of the output of the whole thing, is what you'll select out and then you'll put into a freeze dryer. Because what's left over there is like hash and water, so it just looks like a mud. And you just need to remove the water, so the freeze dryer will then remove all the water, and you're left over with the stuff that looks like kind of like sand, like moon sand when it's all dried up. Yeah, and you kind of move it around. The room has to be super cold too, because if not, the hash will start to melt. And being a live product, it just needs to be kept cold like pretty much the entire time throughout its life cycle. But anyway, then you'll take that hash and
so this whole process is contained inside a room that's also refrigerated?
Yeah, the room is at like 50 Fahrenheit.
And no water either? Are you doing plasma?
No, that's with water.
Okay, you are doing water.
Yeah, but we are adding static extraction. We're working on that, like to clean up the hash afterward. So that's something we're really excited about.
So that is a live rosin product.
Yeah, that's a live rosin. Live being the key thing about live is that it came from a material that was frozen right when it was harvested.
So then the live resin product is the hydrocarbon extraction, basically.
So it's material that
the cold
It's
press.
like that, but it's completely different.
Well, it's material that's frozen, except now it's going through the same process that you saw with like our CO2 extractor, but with butane. Like ethanol and CO2 just can't extract fresh frozen materials. Nobody even tries that. But a blend of butane with propane does a really good job of like pulling all of the cannabinoids and terpenes only, basically. Requires minimal post-processing, and you get a high quality oil as well. It's just not as special and as like true to the plant as solventless, because solventless is really just like unadulterated separation of the oil from the plant.
Because in any of the other processes, there's, even in the best of them, there's always some residual whatever.
Yeah, it's used in the process. Yeah, it's used in the process. I really like. I would vouch for butane products though in terms of safety and etc. I mean,
they're safe.
Yeah.
And then like even the most unadulterated is melt, right? So then you're getting like hash that's not pressed at all, you know, and it's so clean, and that's a lot of that has a lot to do with genetics, but it's so clean that it'll melt in your banger and dab so well, you know, in the cart or whatever rig, and every form is different, right? You know, when you smoke live resin, there's that high THC still. It still can get higher than the rosin. So like sometimes you do get this more intense high, but it's not as like full in the body. You know, it's not as like sometimes doesn't feel always as like full.
It's full.
And then when you smoke that rosin, you're not you'll still get really rocked, and that's no doubt about it. But then there's other like opportunities to kind of get more medicinal benefits because the THC isn't always like, 80.
Yeah.
Right.
No.
Actually, the other thing too is that in that THC content of these different products, how do they land in that way?
That's a good question.
In general, my experience has been like rosin with the new processes to clean it and using like the 1 micron filters. It's generally like between 70 and 80%. And then live resin is, it varies so much on the post-processing and what people claim is live resin. There's a lot of people that make distillate with a butane machine and still call it resin or live resin. Mm-hmm. Even though they're just reinserting terpenes and everything, they're just like, well, I used a butane machine, so it's resin now.
Right. Yeah, I've heard that.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess yeah.
They're like, and those ones are in the 90%.
These are the 70%.
But I'm talking about with the butane extract.
Yeah, those will be like in the 80, 85%. A big thing to look for in them is like the percentage of terps.
Yeah.
The percentage of terps. So if you've got like a concentrate with 5 or 6% terps plus, or even like an 8 or 9%, right?
Are you guys
the
putting
effects
your
are going to be
percentage
full
on your
spectrum.
box?
Yeah.
No, not on the box.
Yeah,
And what's really cool about
The COA has
There's
them.
also
Yeah, no,
10% terp max in New York State.
Yeah, that's
Even
fucking
on the,
stupid.
What the
even on
fuck?
debt, I thought it was
Why
just
are
for
you like-
cartridges.
They're not.
Well, no.
Well,
I think,
they're
I
not
think,
going to fuck with that.
No, I think it's because I know why. It's because other people will add over more than 10% terps and
Make it like sugar.
make it sugary and shit, which is like, so they're trying to prevent that. But what they don't understand is that there is really high-end product that can
just naturally have it.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
If you actually
There should be like
took
a
it through a
right.
process that didn't add back anything.
Right, there should be
There should
an
be a
exception
difference.
for that.
Right. If
I
it's
think.
just coming, if you've got a 12% terps concentrate, like,
It should only apply to
all for it. I mean,
What's
this
the-
membrane
what's the
filtration that we're working
Shanghai,
on for live
percentage?
resin should get us to like 10-12%.
Yeah, no, it's
These are like 70% THC. Most rosin in general is like 70-75%.
This is 76.
That's what I'm trying. That's why I was bringing
This
up
is
the
live
question.
rosin,
Really, just to
76.
speak to the fact that the best thing that you could possibly smoke in the whole space does not have the highest THC.
No, by far
Because
not.
just again, it's just like that is not the fucking point.
Yeah.
Like, it's,
This is live. This is
everyone
live
buys
rosin.
weed like that is what the point is.
Yeah.
But nobody buys alcohol like
66%.
that because, you know what I mean?
I haven't even
Yeah.
looked at
I'm pretty
that. Can I see
sure
that?
151
Which one?
is not the highest selling liquor.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
nobody wants that shit.
Yeah.
Nobody's
You know,
just
nobody's just drinking
nobody's drinking
Everclear.
Everclear.
Yeah.
They're making jungle juice with it.
People
That's-
drink fucking beer, 7%.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
Everyone, like,
Right.
the whole industry's on
I need a
wine.
good
It's already
IPA with a
positive.
good
Yeah, that's what I
flavor.
mean, like,
It's like,
you know,
ever heard of a fucking terpene, motherfucker? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, you like a nice flavorful IPA, don't you?
Yeah.
Then get some terpy weed.
You
I
know,
want
like
fucking rubbing alcohol.
another really cool thing about like resin, speaking up for hydrocarbons as well, is it's allowed us to extract a variety of other genetics. It's allowed us to take like some things and make incredible terp profiles from them, because they won't wash for shit in the rosin press,
Yeah, like a sour diesel, right?
Yeah, and like I'm not too sure like on all the ones, but
yeah,
they're escaping me, for
I guess we're dabbing that one.
That's right.
Oh, we weren't supposed to.
Oh, bro. No, they should have brought a sample. You know what? I'm gonna call them and be like,
Yeah,
yo, I need that shit.
This is packaged. This from Gloversville, bro.
I wanna try one too.
What is it?
This is from
You should
G-Ville.
also just do the shoots.
This is from Gloversville.
Yeah, well, dude, it's from Gloversville.
Yeah, I'll pull up on
you grew up with him.
No.
He probably did.
let's put a lid on that bitch.
I think he.
Yeah,
He's not from there.
Let's do Scotty's kicks since he broke open a
Where's
dab.
Okay. It's my punishment.
It's not.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
The spotlight's on you already. For the move.
You're talking.
That was a move. That was a fucking. That was a boss move right there, though. I respect it. Just don't open any of these other ones, please. Yeah. I guess we're dabbing it. That's what I said. It's fine. It's on me.
I remember that.
Some classics. Had these when I was a kid. Came out in '97. This isn't a '97 pair though. This is a reissue.
Reissue.
Retro. Answer. They did the question in '96. That was Iverson's first shoe.
Yeah.
I didn't even say it was Iverson's shoe, by the way. Allen Iverson shoe.
Allen Iverson shoe.
And yeah, classic. That's all I got to say about it. A lot of people like the questions more. I like the answer
You
better.
like the answers.
I do.
Do you have some? You have some questions.
I have some questions. I'll be breaking some questions out
How
on the
many
show.
pairs of questions do you
Just
have?
like 2.
We have guests.
Just
here.
like 2?
Yeah.
You can ask him questions.
Just
Questions? You got some questions for Scotty? You know what's crazy about Scotty?
I meant to get. Oh, yeah.
What's the size of the total shoe collection?
just under 150.
Nice.
It's like I don't know an exact tally.
What's the most valuable one in there?
No, I got one that's about nothing crazy, but like 1,500 probably.
Oh,
but,
yeah.
What is
I know
it?
which one. Yeah, but sorry.
What's the shoe?
It's a Jordan Dornbecker. Yeah.
What makes it worth that? I don't know anything about
Just a rarity and yeah.
You got some crazy SPs though too.
Yeah, I got some good SPs for sure. Yeah.
Nah, and I totally agree with what he said about the fucking threes.
What's that?
Not skating and shit and like comfortability.
Oh yeah, skating Jordan 3s. Yeah.
No, but the
Is that what you're talking about?
comfortability of them is like they're in a lot of ways like the actual.
They just hold up so well though.
And the most comfortable one. Some are not comfortable at all. So we don't have to talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, I have fucking fat feet, so only very specific.
Threes would suit you.
Yeah.
It's a
such
wide
like
shoe.
an innocent look on his face too. While he's telling me like he was genuine. Like, he's like, yo, threes would suit you, bro. You gotta fucking
was looking
get
out
some
for you.
threes, bro. He's looking out for my fat feet. Facts. Fire. All right. Let's just break down the last couple things that we have in this dabbable category in the store. We have this shatter. What I think is interesting is that there's all these different varieties of dabbles. They all have different names, right?
What's
so we
shatter?
have live rosin, which we covered. We have live resin, which we talked about. Now we have the hash, which we talked about. Now there's shatter.
Yeah, what's shatter?
Hashtag shatter, hashtag pull up and snap. What makes shatter?
It's a different form of butane, of hydrocarbon extracted. So like hydrocarbon would be the one probably that has the most forms that it takes based on how you post-process it. Shatter is cooked down in an oven for a long time, and it takes this
It's like brittle.
Brittle kind of glassy form.
Yeah, glass, exactly. Glass is the best way to describe it.
Yeah.
Least pure, right? You'd call it, like, right? You'd agree it's kind of like the least pure.
Because you're baking it down.
It's the shit people make anywhere. Like,
That's what. That's
I got like 12 friends that can make shatter.
It's the most forgiving for sure. Yeah,
Most forgiving. Okay, that's friendly.
That's nice. Getting the slab in the freezer.
Except for this shatter, that's awesome. Whoever made that.
No, but it is. I mean, all the products have their place in the. And some people like the glass.
So then we have.
I used to love it. Just like crack my little piece off.
Then we have from Jetpack's Zenchem sativa sugar.
Nice.
What is sugar? What makes sugar?
It's a live resin, right?
Yeah, it's a butane extracted as well. They whip it up like in this intermediary form and then put it in the oven, and it ends up making it like a bunch of little crystals, a bunch of little powder. Yeah.
But it's still like
same extraction process.
Same extraction process.
And then
like you said, it takes many forms.
Yeah, and the different quality, basically depending on what terpene percentage in there is, like what can you do? Because if you're gonna release like a diamonds and sauce product, which is another form of butane, where it's basically just like these crystals inside of this terpene sauce, you need super high percentage of terpene input product, or like a shatter you can make with an output that just has like 4 or 5% terpenes. So the different, like the higher quality input you have, the more access you have to all the form factors if you wish. And so if it's like a top quality product, you can make any of those.
Nice.
Yeah.
So then I bet if I had to guess, that batter is also another hydrocarbon extraction process.
Consistency. So batter is just consistent. That's a funny thing, because batter is, you have batter, rosin batter.
Yeah.
Or this batter. So batter, I think, just refers to like
it's
whipped.
Super whipped up.
Yeah, super whipped up.
Yeah, whipped up, and it makes it super easy to work with. Like cold cure is technically batter.
That's just referring to the consistency.
It's super crystallized and cured up, so it's very easy to just like. It's like a.
But it's also like so. It's all these different kind of ways of marketing.
Yeah.
This like hydrocarbon extraction.
Consumer preferences.
Yeah, way of consuming it too.
A way of consuming it. Yeah.
Yeah, you can put sugar on top of your bowl, for example, easier than you could other things.
Okay.
Yeah, sugar's the most like flour friendly.
So all right, let's talk about that. That dabs have to be done like at a certain heat point. So for example, you have this thing right here that we're smoking out of. That you have to turn it on, and then it heats it up to a certain point. There's like a little dial on the side that tells you when the heat point's right for you to actually hit it. The temperature's right. So what's going on with like just a regular flame, or do you need a blowtorch?
What's the difference in the temperature between like
that and exactly, all the different ways of dabbing.
This is like something like this is something more old school that people might be familiar with is like a volcano, but it's basically a volcano, which is a dry herb flower vaporizer for concentrates. All right, so you can control the temperature on it. If I'm not mistaken, you'll go like in a range from like 200 to 300 degrees roughly, and most people hit it at what, like 220.
That's for flower vapes. That's for flower vapes.
Yeah, resin vapes are hotter.
So this ranges from 325 to I think like 600.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
so what we're hitting it at today is
420.
I hit it at like 440 to 455.
Okay.
I find that to be a great range.
And then a nail's gonna hit more like up to
500 to 800.
Yeah.
400 to 800, because if you can,
So that's like heating up a nail with a blowtorch, right? Is what you're doing.
They have electric.
Or they have the electric.
Or like a cook
knife.
Like a chef's creme brulee torch. Basically those creme brulee torches.
Yeah.
Are, what a lot of people like to use, and you fill it with butane, and you heat up your banger, whether it's like, more or less it's like a bucket. It looks like a bucket.
Damn, bro, it sounds like I gotta invest in butane.
So it's
everywhere. Butane up in this motherfucker.
Or e-rigs, electric or not e-nails. Just put it on and plug it in the wall.
Yeah.
But there's many ways. You can either like heat your nail up and then put your oil in there, or you can cold start it. The benefit to cold starting is you can like capture more of the terpene flavor.
That's what I prefer to do.
And that's what Scotty and I like to do, and Ricky as well. Because when we cold start,
It's easier too.
It's easier.
It's way fucking easier.
Then you can hit those lower vapor
You don't
points.
have to have a thermometer.
No, so more or less,
Good timing. That's it.
it's a little bit of education and learning, but you just start observing the smoke consistency. So like, you don't want the smoke to be milky or cloudy. You know, like milky. You don't want it to be like white. You want it to be very
Like vapor.
light, like like vapor, kind of like how this thing is hitting like a vapor around there. And if you're as long as you're getting that, you know you're not at least burning too hot.
You want to vape it, not smoke it. Yeah.
Right.
There's a fine line.
Yeah, because the flower is like 800 degrees when you're hitting it with a lighter. It could be 600 to 800 as well.
Yeah.
Can you taste that difference if you cross over that threshold?
Oh yeah.
Is it like
Burnt.
yeah?
Yeah. High temp dabs are disgusting. They're harsh on you. Like that's why, like back in the day, everyone did high temp dabs when
Yeah,
they first
remember,
started.
if it was red, it was ready.
Yeah, let's
That
go,
was it.
boom, and that's
Yeah.
why you would like die when you did a dab.
Because you try to heat it up and
And-
pass it around the circle without having to heat it up again.
I think that like that
tastes so
feeling of
burnt.
sort of passing out was more from like just your lungs
Asphyxiation.
overheating.
So yeah, we were a bunch of savages then. Brown dabs were brown as hell.
You've learned.
Yeah.
Poop
And then-
soup
And then you
Poop
learn to
soup,
waste
poop
it to
soup.
taste it. And
came a long
You
way.
guys, fucking, that is the truth. Stoners love a good pun. That's why 710 is oil day.
But honestly, the first time I ever seen dabs was probably like 2006. My friend, he called it honey oil at the time, but
Yeah.
it was really his shit was like black.
Yeah.
But it fucked me up. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah. And then I didn't see it for like fucking 4 years, and I'm like, oh, that's that shit he had way back.
I was gonna say, yeah. Wait, what's that guy doing now?
He's in Colorado. He owns like Rock and Mineral Shop, like a really big one. Yeah.
Jay know him?
My boy owns like a giant shop.
Who?
He lives out in
You don't
Boulder.
know him. I was
Boulder,
I was just
Colorado.
making
My boy in Boulder. Yeah.
Because Jay knows rocks, and so I thought all the
Yeah.
rock people know each other. You know, it's a small ass world. I'm sure the rock world is a small, one of those small worlds.
The world is made out
Like
of
the
rock.
cannabis is a small world, and fucking the music industry is
the
a small
rock
world.
world.
I imagine the rock world. The fucking
Really small world.
That's gotta be a small world, bro. So I was just thinking maybe you knew his friend who runs a rock store
That would have been crazy.
in Colorado.
But yeah, like 400 degrees, and I would say probably for rosin, it's probably better to be on the lower end of the spectrum, because you've still got potentially a tiny bit of plant material and stuff in there that you're gonna burn up. And then with butane extracted concentrate stabs, you can probably go higher, closer to like that 500. Maybe I was thinking in Celsius. That's definitely what happened. Right?
Yeah.
yeah,
So tell me about what the one you cracked
Down
open.
300.
At least
Let's crack that
you
one.
cracked it open.
Yeah.
Let's talk about
Smoke
it.
it.
Let's talk about
Yeah,
it,
our
Scotty.
card is dead, so we need another rig.
We need to pull out the puff.
Oh, we have this rig.
Coco.
I hope it's charged. Actually.
Here you go.
Let's see.
Is it charged? Is this one charged?
Nah,
Wait, Scott.
that one needs a good cleaning
This one
too.
might
Yeah,
have-
that one needs a good cleaning.
Oh
too.
yeah.
Oh,
I have like 10% left. I don't know how that is for.
Oh, I think it's dead. That's unfortunate.
we sure did.
I meant to do
prepare
that
for
What
it.
we need
before
to
we
do is
started too, to
remember
clean that.
Always to charge.
Always remember
Always
to
charge
charge
your
your
rigs.
rigs. That is something.
I broke mine the other night.
Trash.
I just got to get a new piece though.
Oh boy.
And it looked like it was
Rip.
fine, but the inside tube was broken.
Oh. Yeah, here, maybe let me.
R.I.P.
let me-
Cardo.
Like the water started coming into the. There.
What is this again?
710K is, yeah.
710 upside down.
710 upside down is oil. So the
it's
stoners love a
16%.
good fucking pun.
I'm sure there's some credited for starting.
It's a stoner pun. What is it then? Tell me what it is. What is it if it's
Where'd
not
the dab go?
It's not a lot of things.
Yo, Merc, he's got 16% apparently.
What is he at?
We're gonna rip it.
You gonna rip it?
16%?
16%?
That's enough.
That's enough
16% is enough for one rip, dude.
for. We can do multiple.
Multiple
We'll keep this
rips.
shit
I thought it was dead, dude.
No,
It's dying.
Oh yeah, we can plug that in.
Scoop. Can I see every sec before I scoop it?
All right.
Buddha Buddha.
All right, let's describe what you're doing here, because now we're just gonna like talk about what a dab is for people in one of these, because it seems like that this is like the wave. It makes taking a dab easier, right? And an electric dab.
So you want to
without
clean
having
it up
do
every
most of
time,
it.
right?
And to regulate the
Yeah.
temperature of it, it seems like it's a
Yeah, it's the easiest way to regulate the temperature. It's the easiest way. So, like, long story short, I think a rig gets you higher. I think it's like more of a ritual and the intention, and there's a spiritual aspect to that. But then the Carta, the Puffco, the Dr. Dabber, all of those are amazing for getting a social experience and getting people into dabs because it doesn't get them so high so fast. So I've got a lot of people into concentrates through the Carta.
all right.
That's awesome.
It's just so convenient.
Explain how
So
does it
we
work?
have this little ceramic chamber in here, and we got this some hash, some rosin, and we're gonna just take a scoop. Now, don't follow by example. We're taking globs here since we're a crew. So then we put that into the chamber, just at the bottom there.
There we go. Look at that booger. Look at that booger.
And always only use a little teeny bit.
A Scotty special.
Yeah, that's my regular dab.
So then we have this like bubble cap basically. It helps circulate the oil around the bucket with that around the heating element, and what that does is like cooks more of it, more surface area, so you're getting more smoke, so you're able to vaporize it quicker. So you put the cap on. Based on your e-rig, you will have a certain instruction how to heat it up. So for this, I click my buttons. It's temped up at 455, and I have it timed at a 34-second dab. And so then I just wait for it to heat up, and smoke starts coming until it starts beeping. Here, do the honors.
I shall.
And that's hash rosin as well.
And that's hash rosin, and you just start pulling it. Water filtration helps make it smoother, and so you don't have to. It's not as harsh as like a dry hit.
So what do you think separates like a Carta compared to like a regular rig? You know what I mean? Do you notice any differences?
Yeah, convenience. That's the main thing.
Besides the convenience of the Carta, you can take a dab quicker with the Carta, but I think with a rig you're getting, you can sometimes even capture lower terpenes. You're cooking it, you're heating it up to that temperature quicker. So with the e-rig, as it's slowly heating it, here I might need to add more. As it's slowly heating, you're actively cooking it, right? So the longer it takes to get to that temperature, the more you're burning things off. So with the e-rig, with the rig, the dab rig, with the torch, you get to that temperature quicker, and you can also get more smoke at once. So you take bigger hits, and those bigger hits, they just sometimes that's just what people want, and sometimes that also just gets you higher.
See, I think we learned a lot about dabs tonight. I feel like we really focused in this episode, and although we got off on many tangents along the way, each one of us tried very hard to pull each other back into the center of the conversation about dabs. Does anybody have anything else they want to add about dabs before Jay raps?
I like them.
You like them?
I like them.
Yeah, somebody
have one too. Yeah.
somebody make
dabs
Nate
last
and
long.
Jay a dab.
So dabs definitely last longer rather than smoking. Personally, to me, I like smoking dabs better than flower now. Like even vapor wise, like with the carts, it just.
Yeah, I think
hits way
extracts
better.
are the future in that sense. The better and better they get, the more flower smokers will be like, all right.
Yeah.
Like it's finally time. Even the convenience, but just the high, the smoothness. You know what I mean? Like the terps on it, it's nice. Definitely.
I'll never give up the ritual of
Has it
rolling up.
replaced it?
No,
Ever.
it's a key of its own. Don't
Has
get
it
me wrong.
replaced it?
No, not at
Could
all.
it ever replace
It's
it?
like two different.
Do you think you could ever stop smoking and just vape all the time?
Hell no. You know what I mean?
That's
Like,
fair.
I don't know if it's
There's an art
because
to the
Nate
plan.
said he talked to the cops, but like for the first time ever, I looked over there and saw Tyson. I was like, "Yo!" But I seen Tyson over there bad times, but Nate
Tyson on the pod.
What do you think?
You can bring him over here. You can put him on the pot. You just hand it in the gun off.
Yeah, we should get Tyson on the pod.
Like the actual Tyson, call
You don't create-
or this
That
cutout.
Tyson.
We're gonna go get the Tyson
So,
cutout.
I wouldn't say it would like replace it. I just think like if you're a consumer consistently, it could be that like your pie chart of consumption is like X amount of THC.
Oh, it's totally joining it.
Yeah.
I totally think that
Yeah.
it's like
it's one and
in
two.
the mix with all of the people who have been like against it, as far as like in my circle. When I come through with the concentrates,
Yeah.
come through with the dabs and stuff, so that's what they're so easy to come around now because the product is so good.
Yeah, like it's delicious. Yeah. Versus just a few years ago, like it's quite recently that it really wasn't.
Nah, sure.
I think one of the weird things that we live in a world now where there's a lot of new consumers that have only been exposed to oil-based products, and for them, flower would be something new to experience.
Right.
That's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
For sure. I mean, just because like the new generation in general, like moving from cigarettes, you don't meet like a lot of 18 to 20 something year olds.
Yeah, they don't smoke cigarettes, but they all have
yes,
tools.
for sure.
And then they just move into cannabis carts.
And they're like, I want the Elf Bar version of that. Like,
Right, yes.
Yeah.
And I see what you're saying as far as in the future, like I could see it going in that direction.
Yeah.
Once it becomes more readily available, like now especially that it's legal and it's more regulated, I think I could see that.
Yeah, but the connoisseur will
And the
always know like a
science on
good
it's getting
flower.
better too.
Yep.
You know.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that was for me. That was before I started getting into it. That was one of my skepticisms. Was, is it healthy? Like, is it healthier or is it not as healthy? I don't know. Do they know?
Not yet.
I don't know.
Yeah. So what's the verdict on that?
So-
What do you guys? What's
I mean,
the?
in general, like, I mean, I'm trying to be a doctor here, but like in general, because you're not combusting, right, and you're vaporizing, you just don't create tar. So when you light something on fire and inhale it, it's very different. And also, like, by the way, flower consumers could very well use like a volcano or a Pax and like dry herb vaporize, and that's just as well as if not better even than oil, because there's just not enough studies on it yet. But in general, just like lighting something on fire and inhaling it is not as it's just not, it's unhealthier. Like I don't know, I feel like it's like yeah.
Go ahead, Adam.
And there's different types of smokers, right? So there's the people who want to like just rip like smoke and get as much smoke as they can, and as high as they can. But then there's the medicinal benefit and like the value of how you're getting more, you're preserving more of the compounds in the concentrate than you are in flour, and so you can consider it in a way more beneficial. And then to the point of smoking it, besides vaporizing it, a normal dab you're taking like a tiny like inch.
Yeah, because it's concentrated 10 times, so you're naturally like, smoking like at least 5 or 7 times less volume of material into.
So I don't smoke flower really, unless it's like with you guys. I take 2 to 3 dabs a day, and I'm set,
smoke
and
flower
it's just like a small little bit.
Yeah.
And I'm high for longer, and I feel like more sustained, and it's just it's just yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Those are some of the points, convenience, etc. Yeah.
Totally. I could see it. I could see myself making the shift. I just don't know when or how that would happen because I just love flowers so much. And it's part, like how you said, it's part of the ritual, it's part of the routine.
And flower has its medicinal space.
Flower has its medicine.
And I dab plenty too, but I love flowers so much more.
And sharing the ritual and smoking a joint together.
Yeah.
There's a whole
communal.
It's communal.
Yeah, it's communal.
Separate things, but one entity.
Yeah.
Word up. What do you think, Mike?
Yo, we should keep more. We gotta get Tyson on the pod for real.
Get the Tyson bites down.
I like
I'm
that.
putting that into the
we
universe
got the
right
bites.
now.
We got the bites.
I'm putting that in the
I like
universe
the
right
old
now.
Tyson. They have a couple of different cutouts. They got the young Tyson, like like the fucking late '80s, early '90s young Bolt Tyson, and then they got the old Tyson, like when he fought Roy Jones. I
J.
think that's
Cole.
when that's
Yo,
from.
since we actually spoke about the break-in on the pod, we could say that they fucking stabbed Young Mike in the neck.
Oh yeah, they did. And the break-in.
Little hole in there.
Oh, on the break-in, yeah.
Okay.
Mike was on the ground in the glass. Yeah.
It was like 'cause they find that they're like somebody gotta get it. Getting emotional and shit.
You gonna rap?
Yeah, you already know that. I've been waiting.
What's your verse? What's your verse about tonight?
So
Let's break it down.
Tonight we're gonna get emotional.
We're gonna get emotional.
Yeah, we're gonna get emotional tonight, cause you know sometimes.
Yeah,
you hop back in?
Yeah, come back in. Hop back in.
There's a song that's on composition on my project, and it's basically because I'm emotional. I get very emotional. I've always been very emotional, but I haven't always been comfortable with that. There was times where I looked at it as a bad thing, like if it was like a weakness. But I've learned when you really accept it and you learn how to be emotional while being in control of your emotions, it becomes a strength. So this is me channeling all of that into something beautiful. And I said, I'm an emotional man. I'm feeling my feelings, I don't give a damn. I'm an emotional man. Why would I act like I'm not when I know that I am? I'm an emotional man, and I can handle it. Don't need you holding my hand. I'm an emotional man, but these hard-headed people don't understand. I'm an emotional guy. I used to try to hold it inside. I'm an emotional guy. Honestly, give me some time. I just wanna cry. I'm an emotional guy. Finding my way in this world 'cause I don't gotta hide. I'm an emotional guy. And being emotional is perfectly fine. I'm an emotional person. Some say it's weak, but I say at least I put the emotional work in. Some say it's weak, but they never speak, and everyone knows they be hurting. That isn't me. I'd rather be free, because if I don't, it get worse. Then I get to projecting, exploding, and cursing the universe and blaming the church for all the mistakes I can never reverse. Try holding it in till everything bursts, and that's why I'd rather deal with it at first. I wear my heart on the sleeve of my shirt, make it look good. You would think it was merch. Using the speaker to speak on my hurt, feeling my feelings. I feel like it worked, 'cause I'm an emotional man. I'm feeling my feelings. I don't give a damn. I'm an emotional man. Why would I act like I'm not when I know that I am? I'm an emotional man, and I can handle it. Don't need you holding my hand. I'm an emotional man, but these hard-headed people don't understand. I'm an emotional guy. I used to try to hold it inside. I'm an emotional guy. Honestly, it be sometimes I just want to cry. I'm an emotional guy. Finding my way in this world 'cause I don't gotta hide. I'm an emotional guy, and being emotional is perfectly fine.
Buddha, Buddha. Buddha, Buddha.
Love, bro.
Composition.
Appreciate you.
And true.
In a composition.
Yes, yes, in the composition. You just like the logo, you see me?
Yes, sir.
All I need is the headphones.
All you need is the headphones look like your logo.
Yeah.
Word up. All right. So, with that being said and done, you got any questions from the net this week?
Just the way person live, right? Could we like one of y'all just body out real quick, like?
Yeah, live rosin probably is a better, because you're talking about like mechanical versus solvent extraction. So, well, it starts with the big difference. It starts with the input material. So everything that's live versus, let's say, distillate is coming from fresh frozen material. That when you harvest it in the fields, as we were talking about earlier, like you put it into a freezer immediately. And that conserves all the terpenes. It conserves everything that the plant had while it was like at its peak aroma and flavor and taste during the season. And then distillate is really like a purification of oil to try to get as much THC as you possibly can in the oil. So you're coming from inputs that they're not subpar in any way, but they're just not they're not strain specific. You're just trying to get oil out of the plant, and it involves a ton more post-processing. And so it's not super critical what kind of input you're putting in. And it's not frozen, right? It's like dried, most of the terps are lost, and a ton of the stuff is done in the purification and in the post-processing to make it a great product in the end. Where like live rosin is a mechanical extraction, and it's all basically trying to match the tradition, like the main essence of the plant that you came in with.
But you get like a much higher yield out of like making distillate or live resin even.
Yeah, for sure.
Than you do out of live rosin, which explains the price difference. So I think people should know that too. That
that's super important. For sure.
That there is a price difference between those, and the reason is because what the yield. You put a lot more plant matter in, higher quality, higher end plant matter in, and you get a lot less.
You get about 3 times less.
3 times less oil out of it, but it's just better.
All you get is the one thing.
The quality,
right.
Exactly.
And it's strain specific, and so if you like a specific strain and you find that in a rosin product, it's like a live rosin product, it's like, that's it's like your favorite shit. So that's the difference of why it's a little bit more expensive.
Which is better?
I don't think one is better than the other.
Live rosin or resin?
Those are different too. I mean, it really depends. It really depends. I mean, ultimately, live rosin, I guess, is better in that it's like the most unadulterated version. But like,
so you wanted to clip.
Live resin can be way terpene.
But here's what I'd say for you guys. It's got to be different than it is for consumers, right? You guys are processors, so for you guys, fucking live resin is better because it's more profitable, because you can yield more product out of the same material, not even cheaper material, because live resin, you're using the same material.
You need that clean input.
You need that
to
clean,
make a high
fresh,
quality
frozen
product,
shit to make a live resin, just like you do to make a live rosin. If my
but you're gonna make
correct,
like double the output.
Exactly.
But
quite literally.
You would say the best thing.
You sell it for less.
Yeah. And that's another part when you say the best thing. Like another big difference is like with solventless, the genetics are so important. Like you can only select basically the best of let's say in our case we plant 24 strains. You select the best like 6 to 8 if you're lucky that wash really well. And even though they're only going to get a third of the yield or half the yield, at least it's not a tenth of the yield. So like they first of all have to be economically viable. You have to figure out those genetics, and then from there you can get it. Where with distillate, it's like I need a dry herb material and I can extract the oil.
Yeah, so it's definitely totally different.
And they have their
He makes both products, so he's been very politically correct.
No, I'm just saying, like you also might want to drink like a Coors Light or a Budweiser when you're at the bar and you have like 4 or 5 of them. I crush our strawberry and green apple vapes like too much probably. I love those vapes. They're delicious. But I also love a great live rosin. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna like rip a live rosin vape all day, every day. I feel like I'll be like in the clouds.
That's
it's a different high.
It's a different high, and that's why, right? And you don't end up ripping it all day like you do a distillate vape. Like a distillate vape, you're just like all fucking every 15 minutes. You're in the distillate vape, but on a live rosin vape, you
just kind of don't.
You don't. You just hit it.
Got high.
And that's the different. So you do. It may be more. It may be more expensive. It may be more expensive, right? But it's worth it because you hit it a lot less and it lasts longer. I think.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And so just a natural. It just all depends on what you want.
You got to think though. There's consumers that straight up don't like the weed taste. Like
right. They want their shit to taste like candy and fucking.
But none of it tastes like candy because that would be illegal. It all
be non-compliant.
Yeah. It all tastes
like
cannabis, strawberries.
Not like
that's what we'll call it. Not weed.
Not weed. It all tastes like not weed.
It's not fruity. It's not weed. It tastes like not weed.
Just two quick ones.
Yeah.
Murph mentioned before about facilities having blast doors, like blast rooms.
Yeah.
You guys have a blast room?
We're installing it in like a month actually.
And what's the reason for those?
When you extract with butane, there's just the gases are super volatile. So you have like butane and propane floating, like not floating around in there, but moving through a closed loop system. Yeah. But if there was ever to be a leak and the gas was just in the air, it's highly flammable. So you would want to contain any kind of flame inside of that room. It's super rare, but it really only happens in like, you know, garage style operations. Like,
But it's a compliance thing.
But it's a compliance thing. We have to, if there's another safe way to do it that didn't involve like $150,000 blast proof room,
then the state
we would avoid
mandating it.
So they gave you a period where you didn't need it though?
Don't cost $150,000.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
They gave you a period where you didn't need to have it though?
No,
Like a
we
grace
don't
period?
have live resin products yet. We're gonna have them here in the coming season.
Yeah, I wasn't even thinking about that.
Hash products.
The hash
distillate.
products. Rosin and distillate.
Rosin and distillate. Yeah, sorry. So, yeah.
Both ends of the spectrum, man.
Well, we have the hash gummies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys are still doing the CO2?
Yeah.
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 And the last one from me, if Chris could explain it, because like I said, you came up with the origin story of Jaunty, the name Jaunty.
The origin story of Jaunty.
Because it's not mushrooms.
No, it's not. Yeah, it definitely wasn't much. You want like the? I guess I could give you the super bridge version. Well, the slightly long version is that before we got licensed, we were looking to do some deals with some outside brands because we wanted to just, you know, we were good at processing oil and we were like, okay, we can manufacture products, but we don't have a brand, and we didn't really feel comfortable at that point, like with releasing something of our own. So we were looking at a lot of other brands. Big ones, I won't name them, but you'd carry them on your shelves now. And then eventually everything just kind of fell through. So this was like, I don't know, maybe in September, right before like you guys got licensed, and we had a whole bunch of oil. We had, you know, all this biomass just waiting to go, but we didn't have any actual products. So I mean, it came down to the wire, and Nick was just like, dude, you just have to like make a brand. And I was like,
actually, it was like come up with 2 brands.
Yeah, 2. And anyway, long story short, I was just trying to think of like I wanted the brand to be about something that was, you know, an action, as opposed to the brand being the centerpiece to anyone's, you know, life. It's just sort of an accessory to it. And the idea was that like, what is the action that you would be taking while enjoying it? And you would be out for a walk, you'd be taking a stroll, you know, and you would just be kind of, it would give you a little pep in your step. It'd be like that nice little jaunty hit, like a little ray of sunshine in your pocket that you could pull out and just take a little rip and put back in. And it was jaunty. I don't know. And
that was just like the name, that like the word you made up to.
Yeah, I mean it was short.
Describe
it was simple. I mean you can spell it, and most of all, it was trademarkable. So, I mean that's one thing too when you're trying to find a brand name. Like you got to make. Can I get the .com? Can I get the @ Can I trademark it?
Right,
so like,
right. Good.
Yeah, I thought it was awesome whenever you brought it up. You're like, jaunty, and I was like, oh, that's great. I mean, jaunty's a word that's that means like sort of lively or like in a happy mood.
Specifically a walk, like you have
you're having a jaunty walk.
Jaunty walk.
Yeah.
Or you're out for a jaunt.
A jaunt.
That's it.
And then you just picked did you like draw the font or did you?
Myself? No, so this, we work with a guy, his name's Dan, his pen name is Dan Michaels actually, so he does a lot of cannabis books. I think you guys might even have a copy downstairs, I want to say. He does like
in the office?
Yeah, his most recent one is Higher. His books are all over. Like anytime
that book's fucking crazy.
Yeah,
bro.
really
like,
solid
all
photography.
And I kind of want, the crazy photography. I wanted to bring it in and show. I wish I would have had it up here right now.
Yeah,
one of these weeks.
We can go with the police.
He partnered up. We partnered him up in the company, and now he's a creative director.
Yeah, I worked with him for many years before that.
Christian
So
brought him
on, and he's responsible for everything, for the logo and.
I mean, a bunch of iteration, of course, back and forth and whatever, but he kills it.
How many people are in your company here?
About 40 now.
Yeah, 37 now.
37.
37, including us.
Sick. How many stores are you guys at?
110.
Fuck yeah.
Why you guys
That's
all
awesome.
the stores?
110 stores. That's like
we
were like
aren't even
you guys have a
exclusive.
special-
We're not even exclusive. Like,
there's 137 stores. Man.
Yeah, I know that you guys are at 110.
We're missing like 27.
He's like, dude, I didn't need those other 27. What the fuck are you talking about?
That's a double-digit number.
But here's the thing, though. is that we are, no matter what, we're like your first.
Well, yeah, you guys get all the first drops.
We're the fucking.
Yeah.
We're like, you know,
Flagship.
in the top fucking 3.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, that you know, first people you met with.
What number were you in the state?
11.
11.
Yeah.
Imagine that.
Imagine that. Yeah.
That's something. Yeah.
It feels like
Seems like a
decade ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, seriously, it's fucking.
It was a really long year ago.
It's a really
Like such a long year ago. Like what the fuck? It was like 1 years ago.
Seriously, so many things have happened in this like short time, and we have like 30 people that work for us as well. So that like how involved do you end up being in everyone's life?
Pretty. I mean, yeah.
They're not as cool as us.
We're like, no, but like, you know.
I would say pretty involved. I mean, like,
yeah, it's like a thing. Like
we're lucky enough for like everybody on the management team is a partner in the company and has like pretty significant equity. So then like, well, when I say the management team, it's like
cool. That's what you get, motherfucker. Talking all that shit.
Well, yeah, but that was for a bunch of, that wasn't like as cool as you guys. I mean, it was a ton of different reasons, but we're lucky enough to end up in that position for sure.
Yeah.
But anyway, so because of that, like I don't know, I'm not. Like in the production facility, at least, we're not as hands-on as we used to be. We're on the street constantly, and we have this little WeWork office that we work out of in Albany, like on State Street there.
We stay in our lane now, though. We don't venture into the
we
back
just
of the production
we just
area.
send R&D shit all day to production. We're like, hey guys, can you make a vape this flavor? Can you make gummies this flavor? And they're just like pumping it out every week.
And the squad is making it happen.
Yeah, Connor, who's our partner over there, who's been with us since like 2018 or something. He crushes it.
Yeah.
It's great.
It's important to have a good team. And that's how you're able to scale up to where you guys are at now, right?
Yeah, for sure.
10 stores, keeping up with it all.
Ree's a part of the, or was a part of the team?
Was a part of the team. Yeah, we parted ways a couple weeks ago.
She's amazing.
Yeah, she's an awesome. She's an awesome
phenomenal
person for sure. It was definitely a friendly parting of ways, and we would recommend her to like anyone who wanted to bring an awesome person in because she's great.
Yeah. She's she's been on the show a couple times. She's definitely great.
Yeah,
friend of the show.
Shout out to Ree. Love you.
But yeah, isn't that like the cannabis industry though? Like we've had a few people who
for sure
who used to work here and now work at other spots.
Yeah, for sure.
Very like, you know, it's a fluid industry. People bounce around.
And it's super new. Everybody's meeting each other.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, for sure.
Everyone just surviving.
Yeah.
We're cool.
I've definitely like seen a ton of salespeople come in for one company and are now with another company and like sending me an email like, oh, I haven't talked to you in a while. Now I used to be with so and so, and now I'm with so and so, and it's like, it's like pretty commonplace. It seems like.
Yeah, for sure. Everybody stays super friendly. I don't think.
Yeah.
Well,
I think so.
Yeah.
Cool.
Any other questions?
Yeah. We're feeling good about it. Great episode. All right. Shout out to the squad, everybody.
Can't believe I opened this.
Great episode. Phenomenal.
Thank you for the company.
Yeah. Shout out to Rap Deals.
Yeah, Rap Deals.
Rap Deals. As always.
And thank you for leaving the baby.
Stage One Podcast.
Sweet baby.
Stoop the Store, Legacy to Legal. We out of here.
I be on that OG, tell you about the OG, calling up the Roaches, got me feeling roasty, higher than the noties, my shit ain't got no seats, I be on the green like